Welcome to NFL Nexus. Today, we are taking a deep dive into the Indianapolis Colts, a team that is, let's be honest, in a really tough spot. They're standing at this massive crossroads, trying to balance this incredible, city-defining legacy with a very, very uncertain future. It's a fascinating dilemma.
And really, it all boils down to this one question, doesn't it? It's a question that every truly great franchise has to face sooner or later. But for the Colts, replacing the legend of Peyton Manning, that's a whole other level. His shadow, even all these years later, it just looms over everything that organization does, especially when it comes to the quarterback position. So to really get a grip on the kind of pressure and the massive expectations the Colts are dealing with today, we have to start with the man himself. We're talking about a guy who didn't just play football in Indianapolis. He completely transformed the city. His legacy isn't just in the NFL record books, it's woven right into the fabric of the community. I mean, think about it. Before Peyton Manning showed up, Indiana was a basketball state, period, full stop. It was the land of Larry Bird, Hoosiers, and backyard hoops. Football was, well, it was there, but it wasn't the passion. But then Manning, with his genius on the field and his incredible leadership, he just changed everything. He made a state obsessed with the hardwood fall head over heels for the gridiron. The Colts went from being just another team to being the team, and it all peaked with that incredible Super Bowl win in 2007. It was the city's first major championship, and it was all because of him. He didn't just win football games. He won over the heart of an entire state. But here's the thing. His impact went so far beyond the stadium walls. And this number you're looking at right here, $25 million, this tells the other half of the story. Now, that's not a salary, it's not a contract bonus. That is the staggering amount of money raised for the Peyton Manning Children's Hospital in Indianapolis. It's a commitment to the city that has lasted long, long after he threw his final pass as a Colt. And a huge part of that fundraising was this event, the Celebration of Caring Gala. For 18 years, Peyton and his wife, Ashley, put on this absolutely first-class event. They brought in huge stars, community leaders, you name it. And get this, it ran for 18 years. That's not a coincidence, folks. That's his jersey number. It was a perfect tribute. And that money, it had a real tangible impact. We're talking about life-saving equipment, housing for families so they could be close to their sick kids, and all sorts of patient programs that wouldn't exist otherwise. And this quote, man, this says it all, doesn't it? That insane competitive fire that made him one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, he didn't just turn it off when he retired. He just pointed it in a new direction, towards philanthropy, towards his community. This is the legacy his successor is up against. It's not just about being a Hall of Fame player. It's about being a pillar of the community whose impact is going to be felt for generations to come. So while that legacy off the field is rock solid, the on-field part is, well, that's the franchise's biggest question mark right now. That benchmark he set is basically impossible to reach. So the Colts are faced with this monumental task of trying to write their next chapter. The search is on for some stability, for some success at the most important position in all of sports.
You know, every team that's in this kind of situation, they're secretly hoping for a miracle, a comeback story. You look at what happened with Geno Smith in Seattle. Here's a guy who was a high draft pick, got written off, bounced around the league as a journeyman, and then out of nowhere, he steps in and becomes a Pro Bowl quarterback and leads the Seahawks to the playoffs. That's the dream scenario. That's the kind of career revival the Colts are desperately searching for. A quarterback who can come in, resurrect their fortunes, and finally fill that massive void that's been there for years.
Which brings us to today. Right now, the hopes of the entire franchise are basically resting on the shoulders of two very different players. Each one has a compelling story, and each one comes with a huge set of high-stakes what-ifs. On one hand, you've got the proven veteran trying to fight his way back from a devastating injury. And on the other, you have the young phenom who's just trying to fight his way onto the field at all.
And this is where it gets really, really interesting, because this isn't just a simple choice between two players. This is a choice between two completely different philosophies, two different timelines, and two very distinct kinds of risk. It's a massive dilemma for the front office, and there's no easy answer.
Okay, let's break this down side by side because the contrast is pretty stark. On one side, Daniel Jones, the veteran. His strength is proven production. We've seen him do it. He has an immediate, almost perfect grasp of the offense. Then you have Anthony Richardson, the young guy, just 23 years old. His strength is pure, raw, tantalizing potential. We're talking about elite athleticism and an arm that's been called a bazooka. But, and this is a huge but, they both share that critical vulnerability, injuries. Jones is coming off a torn Achilles, which is just brutal. Richardson, meanwhile, can't seem to stay healthy either. and so their challenges are like mirror images of each other. Jones has to prove he's durable enough to earn a massive contract, while Richardson just needs to stay healthy long enough to get on the field and develop it all.
So let's look a little closer at Daniel Jones, because before his season got cut short, he wasn't just playing well, he was playing at an absolutely elite level. In his first year with the Colts, he was setting career highs all over the place. 68% completion percentage, over 238 passing yards per game, 8.1 yards per attempt. He was just thriving in Shane Steicham's offense. It was a perfect fit, with all the play action and RPOs that simplify his reads and let him use his legs. He looks like he was in complete and total control of that offense.
And this right here, this is the core of the dilemma for the Colts. The pros are just so tempting. I mean, his command of the offense was flawless. And get this stat, in the first 9 quarters of the season with Daniel Jones under center, the Colts offense did not punt. Not once. Think about that. That is an absolutely insane level of efficiency. But the cons are equally terrifying. His injury history is long, and an Achilles tear for a quarterback can be a career ender. It can mess with your base, your mechanics, the power you need to drive the ball. And then there's the money. You're looking at a contract extension in the neighborhood of $30 to $35 million a year. That is a massive, massive financial commitment for a player with such a huge injury risk.
Okay, so now let's flip the coin and talk about Anthony Richardson. If Daniel Jones represents proven performance that got interrupted, Richardson represents pure untapped potential. Seriously, analysts look at his rare mix of size, speed, and arm strength, and they make comparisons to guys like Cam Newton in his prime. The guy is, by every definition of the term, an athletic specimen.
But with all that incredible potential comes an equal amount of frustration. You can see the game-changing talent. It's right there. But the cons are just as obvious. I mean, his season ended because of a freak orbital fracture from a training accident. It's just terrible luck. But the reality is, health concerns have consistently kept him on the sidelines, preventing him from getting the one thing a young quarterback needs more than anything else: reps, game time experience. And the clock is ticking on his rookie contract, which is the key window for a team to figure out what they have. And that leads to the ultimate catch-22. If a healthy Daniel Jones comes back and plays like he did before, Richardson isn't going to see the field. His development stalls, and maybe he has to look for a shot somewhere else.
And all of this brings the entire situation right back to where we started. Peyton Manning's chapter in Colts history, it's written, it's celebrated, it's preserved forever. But the next chapter for the Indianapolis Colts is a completely blank page. And right now, the front office is standing there, holding the pen, trying to figure out what to write. So ultimately, the decisions they make in the next few months are going to have ripple effects for years to come. For Daniel Jones, the question is all about his body. Can he come all the way back from one of the toughest injuries in sports and prove he can stay on the field? For Anthony Richardson, the question is about opportunity. Is his future really in Indy, or is he going to have to become the next great what-if story for another team? And for the Colts organization itself, the question is existential. Do you bet on the guy you know can play at a high level but has a huge injury risk, or do you bet on the athletic marvel who might have a higher ceiling but just can't seem to stay on the field? One legend story is complete. It was a masterclass in greatness on and off the field. But the search for the next one? That story is filled with risk, it's filled with potential, and a whole lot of uncertainty. Only time is going to tell who steps up and seizes the opportunity to write their own name into the history books for the horseshoe. Thanks for watching this explainer from NFL Nexus. If you enjoyed this breakdown, do us a favor and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Who should the Colts build their future around? And hey, before you go, if you want to help support the channel, check out our coloring books. They're perfect for kids, grandkids, or even for adults who just want to chill out. You can find them using the link in the description or by scanning the QR code on your screen right now. We really appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.